Hello and welcome to the BWN podcast. Today is episode 10 and today I'm joined by Mr. Ben Walton. How are you doing, my friend?
Hello, I'm doing well, Matthew. Thank you for having me.
Welcome to the pod. Just a bit of out of context opening for you there. As you can see, we're in pretty high spirits today, but we're going to try and keep some more professional. Anyway, let's get back to it. Today's episode 10. Yeah, I can't believe we're here already. We're sort of barreling. We're barreling towards the end of this. Well, actually, I think this is kind of the first time I can announce it because we're very much past mid-season now with Jack's coming out last week. And we're going to be, again, very topical still what we're doing with all these kind of question-based episodes in this, what I can say is a first season. I can now explain to you all what the kind of structure of this is going to take. And I think now is sort of early enough and also late enough where I should be saying this, really. With a first season of this podcast, or its new iteration anyway, I won't exactly say what the full plan for this is in the future, but I can say this is a season 1. It will have 15 episodes. So essentially where we're at right now, what are these facial reactions, by the way?
I'm giving you thumbnail faces.
Basically, yeah, so there's going to be sort of 15 of these. Today is obviously the 10th. And then there'll be 5 more, and there will be sort of a hiatus for a reasonable amount of time this year in 2025 between seasons 1 and 2. But I doubt much of a gap from that point forward between seasons. But we'll let you know what's happening with that. We do have a plan for the sort of the end of this pod as sort of a brand almost, and it's different iterations that it's been. We do have a plan of how we're going to wrap all this up. But right now, at least, all I can say, this is a season 1. It's an isolated little package of 15 episodes, and we are now, as of today, 2/3 of the way through when we're finished after this. So great, good stuff. We're well past mid-season. So how are you all feeling today? I hope everything's going all right at home. We're kind of just in the kind of the slog of summer semester, to be honest. It's kind of, we'll talk about that in a sec, but just it's kind of like we're in one of them moods where it's just we're kind of approaching the end of the year, but not really. We're kind of just in the middle. But I suppose it's going to freak us out a bit once we get out with that and we go straight into third year. So it's going to be a bit.
Let's not think about that.
Yeah, it's a bit all over the place, but yeah, it's going relatively well. But I hope everything's going all right for you guys at home. As per usual, when it comes to the network, pretty much my channel's still going very strong, very much daily. We've introduced a new bracket called Words of Encouragement, which is just my little nice chimes in every so often. I think on weekends I've been doing that a lot, just like a nice little videos to kind of give words of encouragement to people, as the name would suggest. But other than that, not so much on this channel. As of course with this one, as I've said, the podcast is running strong on the main channel, and that's kind of the big focus for it right now. And basically, now I've announced that this is the first season, we know that'll kind of be coming to an end very shortly before the slate of 2025 begins, which you may or may not talk a fair bit about today. Other than that, though, since I actually think of it, the last thing I can say in terms of news for the network, which is worth talking about today, I probably have said 1 or 2 things more since recording this for when this podcast comes out, but at least I can say the first one at the time of recording. We have decided behind the scenes of the network, because we have a bit of a new team on our hands, which Ben is actually currently a part of. We've decided as a bit of a method, some of the higher ups behind the scenes, to announce exactly a year in advance everything coming out in 2026. So yeah, Webcom will be kind of the big Comic-Con style event to kind of elaborate on all the information and project-based stuff, but actually announcing and revealing what these projects are and their release dates will happen in a year in advance to kind of make a year-long campaign of excitement leading up to the project's release, and we've decided to go with that. So what you'll have seen on socials, if you're not aware of this, is our second feature BWN Studios called Honey has officially been announced. And it will be coming out in March next year, on the 6th to be specific. But things have gotten underway, and a newcomer who you'll learn more about as time goes on, Eve Murray, is currently set down to direct it, and we'll be going into production in the next few months. So again, I've kind of let that first one slip, and again, stay locked to socials. Even as the time of this episode coming out, I'll have probably announced more since then, but we can talk about these things as they go along. But that first one has been announced. I can confirm that in early-ish, around this time next year, BWN Studios is finally, for the love of God, returning. Film is finally coming back to the network after having a 2-year absence. So yeah, it is definitely coming back. Otherwise, if you have any ideas or topics of anything that you want to get into really with stuff with this podcast, or any particular people, especially in our uni culture, who you'd like to see on, do let us know in the comments below. Of course, again, if you know me, you know the obvious thing. I can say this out loud. Just shoot us a message, man. Like if you want to get involved with this, or you have any idea who you'd like to come on, especially in the sort of University of Sunderland culture, any specific academics you'd like to see on in kind of the media culture, 100% we can try and get that working, because we've got ideas. I know I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago, we want to try and get more academics on. We have been trying, but as the academics, their schedules are pretty tight. So students is obviously easier a lot of the time. Otherwise, that is it for this intro. So let's get right into it with today's episode, when we're going to be talking about screenwriting. So, how are you feeling, Ben?
I'm feeling very, very stressed, very nervous. But I'm here, and yeah.
there's no. The thing is, you can be completely relaxed, right? Because what you guys won't know, the reason why we're such high spirits is we've kind of had a pretty important meeting today. We've basically been with each other all day pretty much before this, which hasn't happened with any of the guests I've had. So when I shot the message asking about this, I completely forgot that they were unrelated things. So I kind of just said, right, do you want to go on the podcast Friday for 8 till 5? And then I was like, oh wait, yeah, I'm seeing you before this anyway. So I've literally just spent the entire day with you. It's basically 10 till 5.
Yeah, I have never been on a podcast before, and then on top of that, having spent a whole day with you, my social bar, It's 3 a.m. We are in a warehouse in South Shields, and we've been trying to film this for 2 hours. So, this is going a bit... my intro's going a bit awry already. But, we're here, and we're pumped to continue.
Woo!
Yes, keep the energy.
Brilliant. We've currently been talking about... because this actually quite leads on from what we were talking about last week with Jack. He's currently in the midst of dissertation film at uni. We today have been actually talking about that. And now that we've kind of got the ball rolling with 2026 announcements, again, I can't elaborate too much on it, but what we can say is that it is designed to be a network release, this dissertation film, which again is very out of the box, very out there, not really something you see done pretty often. It's a pretty big deal for us to do well. Of course, as the way dissertations work, it's a short film concept, so it will be under BWN Studios, but we've been discussing it. I think we're really getting somewhere, and it's getting quite exciting because there's a lot of developments happening. The plot is very much thickening, quite literally, and it's become a lot more complex than we initially thought it would be. We thought it was a pretty simple see-through concept, but as the concept itself suggests, things is not always as it seems. And things have gotten way deeper than it originally would have been. Out of context, that sounds mad, by the way.
This is some great foreshadowing for next year when everyone has forgotten what you said.
Yeah, we're looking at maybe later on next year when this would come out, after it would be marked. I'm going to act like I don't have the official release date. I already do. But it's all sorted. And yeah, it's come along nicely. But either way, Ben is technically part of the network team as it is right now. We have I don't know what I haven't said really. We've got a lot. We've got a lot of people. I won't say exactly who. I don't know if I've said the figure, but we have a fair amount of people under our belt right now, and we are continuing to grow. And I believe primarily, and maybe the only thing, I think you're primarily, at least with me anyway, specialised in screenwriting. I think that's really it, the big thing, really.
That's my main area of focus.
Yeah. And I think, honestly, in general in the profession as a whole, at uni and just the subject, I don't think it would be too much to assume that's kind of a big thing as well.
Yeah, no, I'm very much focused on script writing, mainly just because the technical aspect never really appeals to me in that regard. Like, I'm not a massive fan of fiddling around with cameras and lights and sound. Like, I can do it, and I do find enjoyment, especially when I'm working on a project that I care about with people that I care about. But in terms of just the pure the main thing that I want out of a film production course is to focus on the stories and the narrative, which is what script writing does for me.
No, great. With this, it's kind of I was talking a lot about Jack last week about how we specialise in certain areas, and that's kind of how we're directed to focus on, especially going into industry. There's, I think, a good place to start would potentially be, in terms of, in a literal sense, once we leave here, where is kind of a starting point for writers? Because we always hear about runners, and we hear about that sort of thing. Like, even if you're running, you work your way up in industry. How do you end up in a situation where, because again, it lends yourself to being on the camera team and all these different things. How? Because I assume you may have looked into this potentially. Is this something like how do you suppose you'd start as a writer in the industry? Maybe.
In terms of finer details, fucked if I know, but in terms of in general, I think the kind of basic idea is that you do kind of still have to start from a bottom rung. So I think, honestly, runners probably isn't a bad show, because if you get to a script department, even just a script, an assistant script supervisor, something to do with the script, I feel like it's an easy way. But also I feel like in general, it would probably be just to write as much as you can and get as much as you can out there. So there's a lot of grants that things like BBC and BFI and things like that do. They do like writing competitions where you can send in a script of like your chosen piece of work and you get like funding to make it, or you can join like online writers' rooms, or you can get like, I remember there was some kind of like, not scholarship, but like some kind of academic like team you could become a part of, I remember hearing about, which was like you got given a mentor that was in the industry and they helped you develop a script that you then were able to send off to an actual publisher. So I think it's a lot of like trial and error and a lot of kind of just like not specifics, but in general I think it's mainly, it does fall back to what everything in our industry is, which is pretty much luck. About knowing the right people, luck about getting seen at the right time, luck about choosing the right subject matter. Scary thought, but in general, I think it's not so much different than any other like technical aspect.
Yeah. In terms of getting started, because if that's a way in, what specifically has kind of clung you onto writing? Like, how did you get into it? Like, what was kind of the mid? Cause that's the biggest thing I think we need to tackle today in terms of people who are potentially thinking about getting into writing, but have had a bit of self-doubt about it. Like, what's the biggest thing where you're like, okay, that's what I want to do? Where's that spark come from?
I remember back when I was doing my GCSEs, I was very good at things like English language and English literature and things like that. And I always had like I always enjoyed writing as like even just essays and things like that. So I always enjoyed like the aspect of it. And I remember when I went into college, I was really struggling about what I wanted to do for my future. And then I sat and thought about like, I found a media production course, which was kind of covering a lot of more general areas like advertising and like music videos and things like that, which I wasn't super interested in. But it was mainly the idea of like, I got handed it, and the second that I held it, I was kind of like, oh, this appeals to me. Mm-hmm. I can see myself enjoying this in a roundabout way. And then while I was on the creative media production course, I kind of learned more and more about script writing and techniques. I remember when I was a kid, I used to watch like video essays covering like some it would be, I don't know if you know Nando V movies, but things like that, where he would like kind of talk about Marvel films and other like nerd adjacent stuff and like try and rewrite it. I remember that he suggested a book called Save the Cat, which is the best screenwriting, or like I forget what the subtitle is, but Save the Cat. It's like a basics to screenwriting as a practice. It gives you all of like the act breakdown and things like that. I remember even as a kid, before I'd chosen like college or anything, I just sat down and read it, and I was just like immediately enthralled because I loved the way that it like brought real examples. So it urged you to watch a film and then try and pick out all these things. And once I'd noticed them, I kind of became like obsessed with them. I've always really enjoyed media ever since I was younger. And then when it came to like university and things like that, it's kind of just grown naturally from there. So while I was in college, I experimented with a bunch of other stuff, but I wrote a lot, and I always came up with a lot of ideas. Like that was the main thing, was whether it be like dreams or just kind of like I'd watch a movie and get inspired, or I'd just see something that a friend would tell me about and I'd get inspired. Whenever I came up with anything, I have a Google Doc on my phone of like 70 pages of just like every idea for a movie, a TV show, a short film, everything that I've ever come up with. Some of them I'd like to make, some of them are just like dreams that I like, like dream projects that I would make if I had infinite money. Yeah. But like it was kind of just that idea of like I've always been drawn to media and things like that. Mm-hmm. And I've always loved the idea of writing stories and coming up with characters, and I've always been entertained by media, and I've always wanted to make media in the same way. And just script writing is the way that I think expresses that best, because as much as the director and technical aspect make the film actually happen, the actual like bones of it is the story and the characters and how everything works together in the plot. So I hope that I don't know if I rambled on way too long, but
that was one of the best spiels we've had on here. That was brilliant.
Fantastic.
Thank you. Honestly, that was great. I think there's a lot that, well, I mean, in terms of I like what you're saying there about kind of the foundation of it is the story, because I think that's very well evident to a lot of people who are trying to really get into this. It is the most important thing. A lot of people who are more focused on form and how things are made kind of overlook at times that, especially in student film. I think a weak script and the entire damn thing falls apart. And I think that is massively overlooked in our situation a lot. Mm-hmm. I think people constantly think about, okay, how's this going to look? How are we shooting it? The equipment's got to be good. And then we actually think if the script is absolute shite, you get around to it, and you just think, well, you've got nothing here.
Yeah, a lot of people go for like style over substance, especially in short films, because they go for like visuals over like everything else. So they think of a cool visual and what it could potentially mean, but they don't actually like plot it in a way. Because the 3-act structure, you can break it, but it's given there for a reason because it makes the most satisfying end product. So a lot of people, especially student films, like you say, try and like subvert expectations before they've even found the expectations to break.
Yes.
So a lot of it is like, if you go back to basics and you think, all right, this character is in this situation, the inciting incident happens, and then they have to go off into Act 2 and, go through the journey, then the climax happens, then they move into Act 3 and all the, resolution and things like that. It just makes for a way more satisfying like story and feeling inside of you, as well as a viewing experience for an audience, hopefully, if like the stories were ever to be made.
Yeah. Right. Tell you what, you honestly you answer this so well. You like send us for a loop every time. I'm the one who's lost it today.
I'm really sorry.
No problem whatsoever. You're smashing it. Honestly, I knew it. It's really refreshing for me to hear, because I know that I know that you care about writing. I know that's what you want to do, but this is really kind of giving you a platform to kind of like say why you're into it so much.
I mean, yeah.
Which I know, yeah.
I don't know how it's, because I heard a lot of things from like being on a uni course, being on a college course, discussing media online even. A lot of people seem to like look over the script, and a lot of people seem to think that it's just like it's one element of it. But to me, like I said, it is the bones, because without it, like, there's literally nothing you can do. You have to have a script before you have everything. It is the first step in the process, and it's the most important one to get right. Because if you have a bad script, you can have all of the amazing visuals in the world, but if, at its core it's broken, it won't be satisfying to watch. Whereas if you have an amazing script tight with amazing characters and a like tight emotional impact, it doesn't matter if the visuals are like whatever, then people can still enjoy it. You can watch things like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of an example, like Inside Number 9. Like, not a lot of those episodes, while some of them do have some visual flair, a lot of them are just kind of two people having a conversation, but they're so like tightly written, the dialogue's amazing, and you're able to get all these emotions and all these feelings, and it like leaves you as entertained as if you'd been watching a like feature film with all of the like amazing camera movements and things like that.
Exactly. Like, it's honestly just not it can never be. It can never be understated the importance of it. Like, honestly, going into something like, let's say, feature film without a script is a really, really bad idea. Yeah, I don't know
who that was targeted at, but I feel scared.
No, it wasn't you. Trust me. Believe it wasn't you. It
Help
wasn't you.
me,
It wasn't you.
I
It wasn't you. It was, well, for those of you who know, you know. Yeah. Anyway, who else do you know who's done a feature film?
Oh, you.
No.
Go watch Older on Blue M Network, guys.
What do you mean? That thing absolutely had a script. What do you mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I love the like 3-minute shot of you like rolling your foot on the floor.
You did not have to go that hard.
That really added to the story. Let's keep it going.
I can't.
Let's keep it going, Matthew. Come on.
I will react to it at some point. I will. It won't be that long away. I will. Because again, I call them Watch Along Wednesdays on my solo channel. I've been like reacting to all the old projects. It's the 17th one, I think.
Oh hell!
And we're a fair few in now. We will get there eventually.
Oh,
we're definitely less than 10 away, I think. We will get there. It finally gives me time to have some kind of commentary over it, which is something I haven't done.
Director's commentary for all that. Oh, absolutely. That sounds beautiful.
Wonderful.
That sounds wonderful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. Look, I talked about this with Palmer a fair bit. I don't care. I don't care, man. I don't care. I don't. Look, at the time, I tried, man. Okay, I tried. Many people can't say the same. I tried. Was some of it fucking stupid? Yeah, absolutely.
Look, no one can ever fault you for doing something, for trying. That's a big thing. You took a big swing and it didn't work. But I respect it. I respect you deeply for going out and making it. It's just, now you've got the lessons from all
It's
that.
fine. Look. You just learn these things, right? You learn, and you move on. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
You learn to not go over retrodden ground. For example, that film will never have a sequel. It will never have a sequel ever.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
yeah, man.
It's a bad idea. It's a really bad idea.
I don't know why. It seemed like a pretty complete.
Yeah, it's a complete thing. It will never have a sequel. There's no reason for it to have a sequel.
I mean, if you drove past a car crash, there's no point in like kind of adding your car to the pile type thing.
Yeah.
Again, you're a master of foreshadowing, man. You're really good. You're really.
Don't take any don't take any factual information from what's been said there. Please don't. It's not a. I promise.
Coming 2030.
Yeah. I promise you, it's not true.
All right, let's keep.
Let's go. Right. Okay. Okay. So. Yeah. Let's move on. Do you think script writing is a skill anyone can learn, or does it require natural storytelling instinct? Yeah. Are you born with it, or are you molded into it?
Maybe it's Maybelline. I think it's kind of a thing you can learn. Like I said, I was like 12 years old watching video essays, and I was just hearing people talk about it, and it gave me the urge to kind of do it myself. And then I just read a book, and it kind of instilled in me. Obviously, Save the Cat isn't a Bible, but it gives you kind of extra like lens to look at media through. Mm-hmm. So I don't think it's necessarily a talent you have to have. Obviously, it helps if you've got like a big vocabulary and you're able to kind of like sit down and think about it in that way. Obviously, being good at writing is it's a basic skill, but you need to be good at writing to write. But I think in general, you can learn it. Take a course anywhere. There's thousands of videos online. There's places like here that do dedicated script writing courses. Shout out Joe McCullough. But like, I don't think it has to be an inherent thing because I never want to dissuade anyone. If anyone starts and writes a bad script, then they're not like useless.
Make sure they're bad because there's less competition for him.
that would help me. If you could see some of my earlier scripts, they are really not good. Shout out Powder Keg because that's the reference that no one gets. But for any of my friends that watch this,
Powder Keg. That's a name for a script.
Yeah, you could say it's a cool concept.
Is the name the best part?
Yeah. You know when you're like 12, let's ignore the fact that this was in college when I was like 16, but when you're like 12 and you come across something and you think it's so cool and deep that you like write something about it, because Powder Keg was about that principle of Chekhov's gun, which is like a cool concept. It's a film about like a gun that like has to be fired by the end of it, the principle of Chekhov's gun if you don't know. Mm-hmm. But I think like 16-year-old me didn't think that people would get it. So there was just a long monologue in the middle, like kind of explaining what it was. And it just drove everything to a halt. And like all of the, just like, I think it had some redeeming qualities, but if you start bad, you can learn something. So, you start and you write great prose, but you have dog shit dialogue, then you can, watch more varied films and television, and you can hone your dialogue. If you don't really know plot structure that well, you can read things like Save the Cat, or you can take a course, or you can watch films and just kind of study the different beats that they have, and you can learn it through that. Like, never be dissuaded by just one bad example, because then you'll just never improve.
Yeah, of course. So you're telling me that the best, so the strongest part about the entire concept was its name. And its quality of it.
To give you an idea of the quality, I was an actor in it, and I'm not, I'm not great. It felt like it had some comedic elements that worked. I got told that it reminded someone of Always Sunny, which I'll take as a compliment, because it was just like two characters bickering for like 6 minutes while a gun was like next to them. So I think the concept itself had like legs, but it was just done horrendously because it was like me and two other people on a random Thursday in my friend's house trying to like think about how to do this properly.
So you wrote it. Mm-hmm. It was your first script, did you say?
Well, it was my first like proper script that I did for college.
So your first proper script that you did for college, you acted in it, and the name was the best part of the whole thing.
Well,
Where have I heard that before?
I cannot believe that I didn't even want to do this. I can't believe that I've immortalized Powder Keg on this fucking YouTube channel. That is crazy. I hope my friends...
What do you mean? What do you mean this fucking YouTube channel? It's the fucking YouTube channel. Thank you very much.
I just mean that I never thought that Powder Keg would follow me into my university degree. Anyone that watches this episode is gonna walk away thinking like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? And then I'm gonna have to bring this up to my friend Dan because he was the other person that acted in it, and he finds it so funny when we bring up Powder Keg because it's so bad from both of us. And I cannot believe that I've just brought this was unprompted. I just brought this up. All right. That's that.
No, there's a platform for it. Like when you start your writing process, where do you start? Like when you actually really get into a script and you want to write, okay, where do I start? What do you do? Because for me personally, I start an ending. I start a climactic third act moment.
Really?
I start the ending. Yeah. What's the big climax, and I reverse engineer it. I have like roughly an opening, primarily an ending, and how do you get from point A to point B?
Damn. That's a pretty interesting way of looking at it. I don't know if this is too broad of what you're saying, but I feel like I tend to come at it from a strong idea standpoint. So whenever I come up with an idea that I think would be cool for something, like I always think of a strong central like log line of like, you know, in this world, this person needs to do this before this happens type thing. So that's what most of my Google Docs is just like a collection of really like detailed like synopses and log lines and things like that. So I tend to work just from a strong central concept and then go forward.
Yeah.
Because to me the ending, I suppose either way makes sense. You know, writing's a fluid thing.
Because we do it today. Like I jumped ahead and I was like, okay, that's how I think we end this. And then now we're kind of working towards that.
Yeah.
It's like that's naturally where I fall on things. I mean, I can't believe I'm bringing it up twice on this podcast. But look, I'll give an example as well. Like, not even just in terms of story, because again, look, there was a detailed structure to it. It didn't have a script, but there was a detailed structure to it, right? And like written down wise, right? It's obvious how that film is going. We're always heading to the bridge. We are always heading to the bridge. So I started at the bridge. You go back the weekend to the Friday, and it's how the weekend progressed to get to the bridge. So it's like, I know that's the ending point of the story. How do we get to the bridge? That's the climactic moment. It's the obvious, basic, a climactic moment of a story like that. How do you get there? That is the starting point. It's and then the whole circular structure to get to that point. That it all kind of comes flowing from that point. Do you know the funniest part about that process is when I finally do actually watch it through, when I dissect it, and when I actually like, I know it should be better explained on face value. Like the film should speak for itself. But when I actually explain some of the thought process, I went through a couple of these things. People might actually fucking realize that I tried. Like people actually will, because like when I really dissect it, they'll be like, yeah, maybe. It's just I don't. It's the that's what I end towards. That's what I work towards. I've got that end point. That's where it was always heading. And every story that since that I've come up with, it's kind of like, well, it's either a basic synopsis which you haven't developed properly yet. Once you go past that level of right, okay, conceptually what it is you want to do. Once I break into the story, that's always usually the first thing that comes to my head. What is that big payoff moment that's going to get an audience reaction at the end? And how do you work backwards from that? And how do you, again, foreshadowing? Yeah. I think it's one of the things where I'm like, yeah, I think I'm okay at that. And you slowly see these things in. It's like the biggest thing that I can know, and I think we'll drop it. I think this is the last time today, because in terms of my biggest narrative thing, it's the biggest thing I can talk about, obviously, on my end. So it's the biggest thing that I can see, Dane. It was actually a production design choice. It's one of the things I pride myself on, but no one's ever picked up on it, ever. People don't think it's deliberate. Did you notice, because obviously you've seen it, right? Yeah. Have you noticed that there's different items of clothing, because he walks around like a homeless man, the way like he picks up different items of clothing as the weekend progresses? It's the colour choices. It's black and white, but it goes from white to him putting a grey jumper on with dark shoulders, to then having the body warmer on, black, to then have the finishing touch, the granddad cap on top. Literally, all of it's adding from a crystal clear white top, right, where it's just almost like it was meant to be symbolic for mental burden. So as it's getting worse and worse, and that time is getting nearer and nearer and nearer, he finds these items in the wild, and the colours get darker. So you go from at the start where he's in a real bad way. He's kind of deciding what he's going to do. It's white. By the end of the weekend, he's been absolutely consumed by darkness. And it's a production design choice. Did it mean anything? No. Hell, no one picked up on it. No one caught it. But it's like it's these. That what I mean in the narrative sense, that's foreshadowing. Like I've got you see him at the start with the full thing of clothes on, where I'm pretty sure you can't see a single thing of the white. The white's completely gone. You can't see any of it. So it kind of, you add these elements in across the story. So it's foreshadowing, and a third act climax is kind of a structure which I come into it from. It's kind of how do we build to a big crescendo that gets a big reaction. That's and whether it's emotional, whether it's joyous, whatever it is, what is that big moment that's going to have people either be elated or in floods of tears? What's that moment going to be? And that's what I'm always kind of building towards. So I don't know if you by the sound of it, you work in a very different way. What would be kind of your absolute first port of call when you would start these things out?
Well, I guess again, like I said before, the originator of all of my idea, like it's just an idea. So again, I'll watch something, I'll think of something, I'll come up with a concept, and I will write down a quick log line, which will kind of give me the vague 3-act structure in my head of like, this character needs to do this type of thing. Because I think that's where I always come from, is a strong central concept. Because more than theme or more than anything like that, I think I'm a sucker for concepts and characters. So I don't usually come at a story thinking I want to tackle this theme or even I want to do this specific plot line.
Yeah.
It's more so these characters are in this interesting concept. How would they all react type thing? And I think, it shows how fluid kind of writing is, because obviously your ending, like starting with the ending and working backwards, is valuable because like that you're building towards something. But in the same vein, starting from an inciting incident and working outwards gives you a completely different experience. Because rather than like trying to predestine a path towards an ending that will be satisfying, you're just building on an idea until eventually you stumble on something that you're like, oh, this is a satisfying end to this central concept.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's completely all fluid, and you can do like any combination of anything you want. You can start in the middle if you like. If you have a great idea for a midpoint, which you want to like break your character in some way, if you have a great idea for an opening shot, or if you have a great idea. Most stories come from the fun and games section, which is just like the part where the plot happens. So just like before the midpoint and after the inciting incident, when the film just gets to do stuff. So like if you can start from anywhere and you can just like expand out from there. That's the thing. Writing isn't an exact science.
Yeah. What would you say to that end? What would you say is a big mistake that new writers potentially make?
I would probably say overcomplication is a big thing, because to be fair, I do that quite a lot, because like I say, I come from concepts and characters, and sometimes that really like bites me in the arse, because I like stuff the story too full of things. But I also think especially student filmmakers, because they're told a lot about the themes and stuff like that, try and fill their story with as many or as complex themes as they can possibly fill. So a lot of student films are about like mental health and about things like that, things that like have a lot of like minutia to kind of wade through, which is obviously fantastic, and it's great that people want to cover that in that kind of artistic way. But I think especially with people who are just starting, I think oftentimes simpler is better. So coming at things from a like more straightforward angle often helps. I think simplifying your plot, simplifying your scale, and just following what interests you the most. Because that's the other thing. I think a lot of writers kind of chase what they think people want rather than what they actually feel. So rather than a concept that they are genuinely passionate about, they kind of go like, this is what people will want to see, or this is the type of thing that I know gets a reaction, so I'll make this. It's mainly just like a lack of like creativity and motivation or inspiration, I'd say. It's just like kind of almost following the motions and kind of making writing more of a science when it's, an art form.
Yeah. At what point, when all's said and done with a script and you've thrown everything at it that you can, especially if it's more of a longer form thing, at what point do you think, right, okay, this is done? Because I know people like to add a lot of things in the sense of like they always think they've got to improve it. I don't know how much you call micromanage if you work in that way where you constantly improve it, because if you're a perfectionist, I'm not entirely sure. But in that way, what would you say is, how do you know, right, okay, I've done it, leave it, it's finished, that I've done all I can with this? At what point do you mentally like, right, okay, I'm happy, I've done it?
To be fair, in the grand scheme of things, I want to say I'm obviously not a writing professional, and I haven't even like written that many things like on my own. I've mainly done things for schoolwork and then a couple things outside. So I haven't got like a massive amount of like scripts that I can use as examples to pull from. But I think in general, the ones that I have done have always, like you say, I've kind of started from the beginning, kind of plotted it through till I get to an ending that feels satisfying, and then kind of called it there. If that makes kind of sense. Yeah. Like,
got out while you were ahead.
Yeah, I think like you say, a lot of people, it's the term like you've got to kill your babies. Like sometimes you're so attached to it's a thing, I promise. Yeah. Sometimes
I know it's a thing, but I've never heard it said like that. It's usually darlings. That's a bit far.
Oh, well, whatever.
Oh my God, kill your babies.
You get it. Well, it's the same concept, but it's the idea of like you're so attached to something that you just want to keep going. So if you spend so much time in a project and you get to a natural ending, you might try and wring some more like kind of creative energy out of it just because you want to stay in that like world and with those characters for a bit longer. But it's like it's good to kind of keep moving is all I can really say.
Save it for the sequel. Save it for the sequel. Yeah. Sequels.
You're really bad at this. You're really bad at being subtle. I don't know what else to say, man.
What do you mean? What am I talking about? I didn't say anything.
2030.
No, The ones who the ones who actually like what I'm doing will actually believe it's 2030. To be fair,
Show up on one podcast, disrupt your entire slate, and leave. That's my game plan for today. I've been tasked by my friends back home.
Let's not bother with that right now. Trust us, I've got much different stuff than that planned in 2030. I already have. Look, I don't know where I'll be there, man. I don't look. The thing is, all I can do is plan. Which obviously, being a natural planner, I've done. So, yeah, would I like to think I know what's happening in 2030? Yes. I have to be in a certain situation to be able to do that, though.
Yeah.
So in 5 years' time, what the slate looks like in 5 years, yeah, I've got a rough idea of what the slate will look like in 5 years. Just, am I in a position to facilitate that? We will see. But I will know, probably this time next year, if not a bit later. I'll know by that point. If at that point, then yeah, 100% the slate will be finished. I'll understand.
I understand.
What's happening. I reckon what will probably happen is we'll have Chapter 3 mapped out together. So rather than it being year to year, which is what it has been for the last few, it'll be a case of we have Chapter 3 cleared. We're ready to start work on it. We know what position we're going to be in for X amount of years for that chapter. And we pretty much slate out the entire chapter as one. Yeah. That's what it'll be. It'll be very much like an MCU phase. It'll be like, right, okay, here's what we're doing this year. Then next year we'll follow it up with all these. That we'll have a rough plan. That we can obviously deviate from, but that'll be roughly the idea. So we'll have very much a keen structure to everything. Right, okay. Are there any misconceptions you'd like to talk about screenwriting? Like what is to maybe newcomers and that sort of thing. Like what are the kind of the things that are like just not true about the whole process?
It's not true. I guess kind of what I was saying before. Your first draft's never good. Your first draft's always got like a lot of kind of potential, and oftentimes you'll have great elements that you can choose to keep. But I think it's really important to know that your first draft is always going to be a bit shit. So you can always come back and keep adding stuff and keep doing whatever.
That's if there is a first draft.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's always just important. It's always important to know that your first is always your worst, and you can always just come back to it later on.
Thank you, Ben. I'll take that as a life lesson.
Well, okay, maybe not. Maybe if you keep
going.
Yes. If you keep going.
Let's just pretend. Yeah, that's very true. What you've said is very true. Let's keep the Let's act like that's complete gold. Yeah. My first is always the worst.
I mean, it's not for certain, but potentially. I feel like there's also an element of collaboration. I feel like a lot of people think that writing's a very lonely thing, and it can be. I feel like for book writers mainly. I know that it's kind of some overlap, but it's the quintessential idea of like an old person sat in a cabin with a typewriter like for months on end creating their masterpiece type thing. But we've got things like writers' rooms for sitcoms and things like that. You've got a bunch more writing duos and things like that are in like space. Some of my favourite films, like the Cornetto trilogy, they're written by like Edgar Wright and Simon Pegg, and with heavy influence from everyone else. So it's all a collaborative medium, even if you can be a single creative voice at the head of that. Yeah,
I think. I'm going to make it about Marvel, but it's I think Marcus and McFeely went a long way for dual writers. If you're aware of that whole thing, they are the duo that worked a lot with the Russos. So as they both directed. They both wrote First Avenger, then continued with Winter Soldier when they then met the Russos. They then did Civil War, so they wrote the entire Cap trilogy, and then they also wrote Infinity War and Endgame.
I actually didn't know that,
So it's so ever since Winter Soldier, so the last 4 of the 5 of them, they work with the Russos. So there was a writing duo and a directing duo for all those 4 films.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's all a collaborative art. That's what film as an industry is. It's all about people coming together to make something that they think is going to be great.
However, of the 2 of them, I believe it's Marcus. Marcus is not back this time around. The Russos are back for Doomsday and Secret Wars. Marcus is not.
I mean, can you fucking blame him?
What I mean is, only one of them's there. So whilst I'm not worried because that's 50% of what made those scripts great. I'd be interested to see what kind of different dynamics would happen without... All I know is, as a writing duo, I know they're very close friends. I'd be interested to see if he'd had maybe video chat consultation calls with them, which I imagine he will have once or twice. Definitely.
To be fair, Marvel throws around billions of dollars just to get the worst people to come back to their films, Robert Downey Jr. So like he definitely
I've
would
just
have
caught
come
what
back.
you just said there.
What?
I just processed it. No.
Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor fucking Doom when we haven't had a good Fantastic Four besides the 2000s one, because that one was actually not bad. Although the Doctor Doom.
Don't chat shit until July, okay?
You know he's gonna be bad.
At the end.
Okay, you know what? I'll take that back. Robert Downey Jr. is a good actor. He's going to be fine. But what they've done is immediately shoot Doctor Doom in the fucking knee, because now he's not going to be intimidating because he's Iron Man, and everyone's looking at it going, "Wow, Iron Man's back."
You haven't seen a line of dialogue get delivered from him yet.
Yes, but it's Robert. The whole fucking marketing thing when they had him come out on stage and take the mask off. That is a $7 billion cry for help. It's our films are doing so bad. We're gonna pay Robert Downey Jr. more money than fucking Liechtenstein, and we're gonna have him come back to play the most important character in Fantastic Four history. And even if he does a good job, it's gonna shoot him in the knee, because now he's gonna be a Tony Stark variant or some kind of bullshit like that.
We got it. We got this week's short.
Fucking Robert Downey Jr. Go back. You already have more money than God. Go back. Go away. Like, just please let Doctor Doom be good. I need Fantastic Four to be good.
Right, okay, for the love of God, right, just put things in perspective here. Yeah, you've got Ralph Fiennes, and I think that's how you pronounce it, as Galactus, right?
Mm-hmm.
And whatever, Shala Ball or whatever with Julia Garner, right? You've got that.
John Malkovich is that one guy. John Malkovich, sorry.
Yeah, you've got that right. That is, if he shows up, it's only going to be in a post-credit scene. Come on. He's only going to show up either at the very, very end in the third act or in a post-credit scene.
To be fair, yeah.
He's not going to be in the whole movie.
I think Fantastic Four itself will be a good movie, but I just know that when Doomsday and Secret Wars comes around, they're not going to be as good as Infinity War and Endgame, because Infinity War and Endgame were made with kind of a point, whereas Doomsday and Secret Wars are just made because the Kang actor got, allegations.
I feel like I was saying this. I'm trying to remember who was saying this to. Oh yeah, it was Palmer. I said this to Palmer. It was like, I find it so fascinating how you take what it'll be now, like 5 years of kind of wishy-washy disconnected stories. You got 5 years worth of it leading into Doomsday. And obviously I am saying 5 years because they will have seen all the scripts and the dailies for all these projects as they were writing Doomsday. All these disconnected stories and kind of things, especially 4 years, they've got all of 2024 to work with in terms of like audience response and what they liked and didn't like. They've got at least 4 years of reference as to what people received well, at least. Not this year, but last year.
Yeah.
They're looking at it and they're like, right, okay, we've got all this disconnected shit. How do we take all of it and make an entertaining movie that not only is good in its own right, but pays off all the disconnected threads of the last 5 years? Which, yeah, it'll seem like a fandom movie that's made for the Marvel fans. For casuals, good luck. But what I'm saying is I'd be really interested to see, because it's the Russos, that even if the casual audience suffers for this release and it makes less money, but still does very, very well. Because let's be real, it's Avengers. If they don't make at least $1 billion, Jesus Christ, they are in trouble. If they don't make $1 billion, they're in trouble. But it's when they do this, I would be very interested to see, can they take this, all these disconnected threads, and make something at least for the fans that is actually satisfying? And I don't just mean, right, like they did with Cap, address the Eternals thing that's been in the ocean for the last 3 years?
Jesus Christ.
3 what? No, 3? No. 4 years. It's been in the ocean, 2021.
Yeah.
It's been in the ocean 4 years, and now you're finally deciding to address it, right? No, except for that bloody Facebook post in She-Hulk. Did you see it?
I mean, to be fair, yeah.
There's like a little Facebook post on like an Easter egg on a laptop addressing it. It's like, aside from that, I don't just mean stuff like that. I mean, even as specific as what happened to Harry Styles. No, but this is what I'm talking about.
No, but
this is what I'm talking about.
You've touched exactly on my point, which is I know that it's going to make more money than everything ever, because again, they've got Marvel fans, they've got comic book fans. Captain America 4 is, evidence that they've kind of just given up on telling individual stories and they're fully just catering to people. That's the thing. I don't think they're getting in any new fans, so I think they're just spending time trying to cater to the new ones, or to the ones that they already have. But they don't really have the capabilities to do that, because again, they picked Eternals and the 2008 Incredible Hulk to be the basis for a Captain America film, where Captain America doesn't have anything going on. And I just feel like the thing with Infinity War and Endgame is they were able to bring all these stories together, but every single story wasn't complete yet. Whereas most of the stories now, it feels like they haven't even started. You know what I mean? How are they going to be able to put I don't even know what happens in the Marvels, but the Marvels, Shang-Chi and his bloody rings, all the fucking multiverse shit with Loki and everything like that, all the stuff with, I guess, adamantium now from fucking Captain America, like, they're just physically not going to have fucking Harry Styles showing up. Like, how are they possibly in any universe going to make any of this satisfying? This is far too long a tangent. We need to get back to it.
No, I'm serious. At least I think a good few minutes is better. I think I've already picked it out. I'll have one question for you when we're done.
Yeah.
We're getting to the bottom of this shit. Tell you what, we're gonna do like bloody TED Talk. Let's get into this, okay? Right? As if we were writing this. There you go. Case study. Perfect for a screenwriting thing.
Bloody hell.
If we were in charge of, I think Secret Wars, that we can talk about Secret Wars, but like this Avengers movie, how important it is to get right. Mm-hmm. Let's say we were in this writer's room and we were in charge of it. From what you've seen, which I imagine is most of the multiverse saga you've seen, most of it. Like, of course, I've seen all of it. The thing is, even now, I'm in a position where, as the time recording, I haven't watched the Daredevil premiere yet. I haven't seen any of the Spider-Man show. I haven't seen any of that yet. It's Cap's the only thing I've seen this year so far. I need to watch these things. That I'm falling behind even. So if we were in charge of this, how would we handle it? Like, because we're in spitball.
I genuinely don't know if there's a world where you can make it satisfying, because the thing about the old ones was that they had a central through line, because they had characters like Captain America, Iron Man and Thor to kind of guide things, and even when they added new characters like Ant-Man and Guardians of the Galaxy, they had their own series, so they did have their own character arcs. Mm-hmm. Like, Infinity War brought Captain America post Civil War, Thor post Ragnarok, Iron Man post Civil War, Guardians of the Galaxy post Volume 2, and they managed to entwine it in this really interesting way, where Captain America separated from Iron Man, Thor's off kind of on his own revenge quest after Ragnarok, Peter Quill's the way that he was after everything with his dad. But you physically can't do that because, like, again, some of the people that you'd say were the faces of this franchise, like Kamala Khan, I haven't seen the Marvels, but from her show, like, there's not much you can really do with her. You know what I mean? And things like Shang-Chi, he showed up once, and he hasn't been able to come back. And characters like Ant-Man, they finished his trilogy, but he doesn't have a central through line anymore.
Yeah.
And things like the Avengers don't even exist. Like, there's I don't think there's any way that you can without just fully retconning everything.
Yeah.
In an ideal world, you would have just stopped at Endgame, and then just we would have had this slate written out actually to make things work. If I in an ideal world where I was in charge, I would have probably, started a new Avengers thing with whoever was left, kind of had that be a through line. You can do things like Young Avengers. I really don't care that much anymore, but you can do that. If you want to try and bring in Fantastic Four and X-Men, you can try and do that and make them through lines. It's just, there's so many disparate elements that I physically don't think it's possible.
Here's where I would start, and this is the plow for everything in a quick fire way. Mm-hmm. Starting with WandaVision, Wanda needs to be redeemed. They need to bring her back, and then in the 2-movie arc, they need to redeem her because she was one of the best things they have left. Which, yes, they do have her left. She's not dead. I don't care what anybody says. Right? Fair. They can deal with her. Falcon, I think Cap, no matter how good you can say, or bad you can say his position is, he will obviously lead the team. Yeah. Cap will lead the team. The new Cap anyway. Mm-hmm. Loki, I think, will have a key scene in these movies where they maybe reach him at his throne, potentially. I think that's how you tie that in. That's pretty easy. And again, I'm saying this generally is both that and his season 2 combined. Mm-hmm. Then moving on, I think What If? I think the Watcher has a cameo of some kind. I mean, the Watcher again. Tracks. And the Watcher definitely has some kind of cameo to tie that in there. Shang-Chi, the fact he hasn't been brought back is egregious. He needs to be on the core team. He needs to be on the core team. There's no debate about it. He's got to be on the core Avengers team. It's the only way you pay it off. He's got to be on the core team for both movies. Yeah. So that's certainly something that needs happening. Moving on, Black Widow again. Yelena needs to be a part of this. I don't know where the Thunderbolts are going to fit into this.
To be fair, that's one of the few ones that I actually think I'm excited for, because I think it actually looks like a standalone thing. Like, it looks like it's doing a great. To be fair, it's one of the few things that's also building on stuff, because things like US Agent and Yelena and Red Guardian, they were the highlights of their respective kind of entries in the universe. So actually building off those characters is incredibly smart. I know that people were mad about it not being Zemo and Abomination and stuff, which would have been nice. It would have been nice to have more variation, but in general,
honestly, I think having
it's a long ass tangent. I apologize if I said
having at least Yelena and Bucky involved in these movies would be a good idea. At least. Then speedily moving on, Eternals. I think you need to pick the best of them. Look, if they don't want to progress with the team,
Mm-hmm.
because they took like another Guardians of the Galaxy-esque risk with them,
Mm-hmm.
right? If they don't want to progress with the team, some of them stay. I'm adamant. Icarus needs to come back. Icarus comes back. He was cool. Kingo, especially. Kingo can stay.
That's fair.
Some of them can stay. I've got no issue with
Yeah.
that whatsoever. And whatever this Harry Styles thing is, they need to tie it up. They need to have him back. They need to tie it up in some way. Spider-Man,
Fuck
obviously,
yeah.
no one knows who he is now. That's that Spider-Man, but Spider-Man will be in these in a
Yeah.
big part. Apparently, a body double is going to film a lot of his scenes because of the Odyssey.
Oh,
So he's going to be in the suit, a lot of it,
damn.
which is fair.
That's
They're
fair.
just going to pull a Mandalorian, which is fine.
That tracks.
Hawkeye, I can't wait to see Kate Bishop again.
That's
But
fair.
again, I think there'll be a Young Avengers subplot to these movies.
Yeah.
So I think they'll, like a faction, like a team.
Yeah, they have options.
I think
It's
they'll
just-
take him like Kamala Khan. I think they'll take him on a separate thing,
Yeah.
like a B mission. I think that's how they make the Young Avengers. They have literally a B team
Yeah.
having like a Guardians-esque subplot in the middle of the movie.
Mhm.
I'd appreciate that personally. You have the young people go off and do their
Yeah, I
thing.
know what you mean.
A lot of people won't give a shit, but it ties that up in a way. So
I
that's
know what you
fine. You've got that. You've got and yeah, those are the movies. Yeah, that's fine.
To
So
be 100% honest, at this point, I'm ready for DC. I'm ready to jump. Once Superman comes out, and pray God that it's good. Fantastic Four and Superman aren't good.
Yeah.
But I'm lovely sound.
look, even I'm looking forward to Superman, but then again, it's moving so slowly. They've got like when you actually look at their slate of what they've got planned, it's like
I just want good films.
DC aren't
That's
even moving.
fine.
I think Superman's going to be good, but he's said it on record that they aren't progressing until they see how Superman does.
Yeah.
Like we're going to be waiting a while. The Batman got pushed
It was-
again.
It was a rough start as well to Creature Commander. This is such a massive tangent. I really do apologize.
It's a
for
TED
setting us-
talk. It's a TED talk.
I really apologize setting us off by just saying I didn't like Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom.
It's
but
fine.
now
No,
I'm saying
it's fine.
But now just
it's
here.
fine.
But yeah,
This is all right and relevant. Like we're talking about how we take these
Yeah.
elements and how would we do it.
I suppose yeah.
in
It's
a real-world
it's
application,
Great,
it's
both
like-
of them are great examples because again, like Marvel has been so colossally like overstuffed with stuff
Mhm.
because they don't have a central through line anymore. So they've just been throwing stuff at the wall and trying to see what fits. Whereas DC is trying to start from scratch, and James Gunn is trying to not have a through line. So I feel like both of them aren't really going to work. I feel like DC, as long as they make somewhat decent films every now and then, both of them are going to keep staying around because
Yeah.
people like watching
Yeah.
them. But just like as long as I feel like the only way to actually make like the universe kind of work would have been to have a Batman film, a Superman film, and a Wonder Woman film. But instead they started with the Commandos, then they're going Superman, then they're going like the Authority and some other weird
Mhm.
like background characters and shit like that. So like neither of them really have my full support, but I am excited for DC probably more than Marvel at this point.
To back to where I was, they've to absolutely blast.
Yeah.
To absolutely blast here, right? Moon Knight needs to be brought back because again, like Shang-Chi, he's a character I really liked.
Mm-hmm.
Like forget the show, but like he needs to come back soon.
Yeah.
You've got Strange is left in a good place, I would say, in the sense of like apparently he's got some role in Doomsday.
Mhm.
It's been kind of cleared up. He's a massive in Secret Wars, which checks out
Mhm.
because he should have really been like the figure of this saga. Really,
Probably.
he should have been. And then we've talked about Miss Marvel, the Young Avengers subplot. I think they should with Thor, they need to give him a serious plot. They need to redeem Love and Thunder, and they need to seriously give him something really good to do in these two movies.
Yeah.
Because I will just say, I think one of the things the Russos did get wrong is I think they marginally fucked him up in those two movies. I think Infinity War was awesome, and then they completely clowned him in Endgame.
Yeah, it was
I think that's what kind of set him on this path with Love and Thunder.
Yeah,
So
Taika Waititi was able to take the joke and just kind of kept running with it.
Yeah, like he
It was
went too
unfortunate.
hard. He was like, the Russos served him up with tennis balls. Like, oh, we're playing that game. I will bring the hammer down.
Yeah.
It didn't really work. You've got She-Hulk, which again, forget the show, but I think the character was great. You bring her back. She did a fine job
Yeah.
playing the character. You bring her back in some kind of small role in Doomsday. Even you've then got oh Jesus Christ! This is the problem with this. That you're trying to remember everything
Yeah.
that came out in order.
Marvel needed to kill their darlings, like you were saying before.
Yeah.
Like, they had too much. They didn't know what to pick, so they just
Yeah.
scattershot through everything.
So-
and now you're sat here trying to desperately
Yes,
think
like,
about stuff.
Werewolf
because
by
there's been
Night.
so much.
Werewolf by Night. They need to bring some element of that through. That was good though. That
I
was
enjoyed-
good.
Yeah,
it
I
was
enjoyed
good.
it, but I forgot that it
Then,
happened.
then obviously they've got Shuri to deal with because they've got Wakanda Forever to tie up. They've got the
Namor.
Guardians Holiday Special was then went into Guardians 3.
They've got Namor.
So that was fine. Ant-Man, again, that's the biggest one. It's like his story seems wrapped. I don't know what the hell, other than Cassie in Young Avengers plotline.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell they're going to do with that man. Does he even need to be in this movie? I don't think he
It's
does.
just exhausting.
Like, it's just, I don't, that one's an iffy, I will say. That one I'm struggling to wrap my head around. Secret Invasion, other than I'd say, I'm going to be honest. Other than How they
Jesus
figure out what to do with that Gaia,
Christ.
how they figure out that OP girl flying off into the
I
sunset,
don't know who they
how they deal with that, I have no idea. Frankly, as long as Nick Fury shows up once in these 2 movies, that's enough of a plot line tie-up for me.
Yeah.
I don't care. Like, a line of dialogue will do on Secret Invasion, for the love of God. Just, that might actually be the worst thing they've ever done. Just wrap that shit up.
This is what I mean.
Guardians, again, Star-Lord will return. There's heavy rumours that even Star-Lord alone will be in Doomsday. I agree with. I think Star-Lord should be in this, definitely. And there's actually been rumours that he will be like a coach and steward to the Young Avengers, which I think would be pretty cool. I think that'd be actually quite cool, actually, having him sort of run it. And yeah, maybe Rocket's New Guardians show up at one point, maybe they have a reunion. That'd be nice too. That'd be nice. And then we're at Loki season 2, which I've already talked about, and that's all well and good.
I think you've pretty much covered it.
Yeah, and then the Marvels. Fuck! How does Carol fit into this? Where does Carol come in? How? And the thing is, you get to 2024. Echo. What's the point? What's the point? Where's Echo supposed to come in? You've then got Agatha, which I'll admit, I think Wiccan. Yeah, Wiccan was good. Wiccan should be on the Young Avengers B plot line. That's fine. That's an easy way to figure that shit out and like speed over anything that was happening there. You've got again, What If, which I've talked about. Deadpool, right? The thing is, Deadpool's going to be in these movies. Yeah, but like again, how do you fit him in?
Yeah, you can't.
How?
You absolutely can't.
Jackman will be in it. Deadpool will be in it. How do you do it?
Yeah.
I just don't see at all. Like, I'm pretty sure is that, and then the next Man 97, the animated stuff doesn't count. Not really, anyway. It's all multiverse shenanigans and all that shit. And then yeah, like Cat 4 leads him into it. He's setting up the Avengers now. You've got Daredevil, which God knows whether I'm being ground level whether he's even going to be in this or not.
Mm-hmm.
God knows whether he's going to play a part in it. Thunderbolts, as we've discussed. And then Fantastic Four, they're already coming off the back burner because they've got their first movie, the last one before the Avengers movie. So they're going to be fresh characters that somehow you've got to make them seem like established parts of the lore as they're going straight into the back of an Avengers movie through the back door.
Yeah.
With Doom.
Yeah. This is what I mean, man.
I actually didn't realise how much of a task this was going to be until I've actually went through the entire saga to this point.
This is what I'm saying, dude.
Like, these things are going to be throwaway lines at most.
Yeah.
I have absolutely no idea how they tie all this up.
Guarantee they're going to take the Fantastic Four, make them pretty much the main characters, or like one of the main like groups. They're going to probably do something
like Guardians of Infinity War.
They're going to probably do something with the Young Avengers and make them important. And then I'm assuming they're just going to get Strange to round up all the stragglers and just kind of make them a team. I guarantee you, they're not going to care.
That's
that
what
much.
I think. I think it's going to be
much.
Strange is going to be a steward of a multiversal guidance to it all. There's going to be the core Avengers team, the Young Avengers plotline, the Fantastic Four coming in as the new
That's
lot.
pretty much it.
They've disbanded the Guardians, so they'll kind of filter in somewhere, and the Fantastic Four take that spot.
To be fair, wasn't like the whole thing that Chris Pratt was the only one that was going to come back without James Gunn, and everyone else was like,
pretty
yeah,
much,
we don't want
pretty
to.
much.
So I don't.
The last thing to
even
bring
see
up
that.
is like what the rumors have been is that, which I actually think makes sense, is that in terms of the multiverse concept, rather than Kang, if that's what you're paying off, you have the villains be the multiversal Avengers, the originals. Wait, have you not heard of that?
No, that's awful.
It's come out. It's Scarlet and Evans are coming back.
Oh, that's so bad.
Have you not heard the rumors?
No.
So like it'll be Captain Hydra. It'll be a Hydra variant Cap.
That's so bad.
So rather than Doom, they're having all of them. It'll be like a council of multiversal villains of the original Avengers.
That's so bad.
Which I don't hate.
I do.
I don't, because that makes it like, if you're making the payoff of the saga be a multiverse concept rather than a villain, you have the original Avengers be the villains.
That's so bad.
It's very cartoony, I'll admit, but it's like that is crazy enough to work to me. You have the new Cap face against Evans Cap. That's a very interesting dynamic. The same person who give you the shield, you're now fighting.
I guess.
It's interesting, but anyway, absolute clusterfuck, to say the least.
Yeah, that's right.
How they're going to do it, I just wish them the best of luck, but I've realised as we're talking on there how difficult it's actually going to be.
That's what I've been saying, man.
Yeah. So, really, from that tangent, we've kind of learned that, like, as writers trying to crack something, there's nothing we can actually do.
Yeah.
It's actually very...
I think what we've learned is that
modern
Hollywood sucks dick and needs to kind of have a reset, because most things that are being released that aren't just, like, brand new IPs have been kind of trash as of late.
And God bless Superman, please be good.
Please be good. Fantastic Four, please be good. Superman, please be good.
July. After that, I don't
just
really
care.
Smurfs look like shit, but Jurassic World Rebirth, all it has to do. Rebirth just has to be good. Jurassic World be good, 2 Marvel movies be good. Let's have a good July, and let's forget Smurfs exist. As long as we forget that, it's fine. Rihanna as Smurfette makes me want me to shoot myself through the mouth, but let's just move on, okay?
Cool.
Wonderful.
Sorry for that tangent.
Last question for you then would be, before our game, would be, what is the best piece of writing advice you personally received, not from a book? So to really cap all this off from our little tangent about how we would write that, and all the experiences that I brought you to where you are and what we've talked about today, what is that big bit of advice that you would say has really kind of helped you, would you say, when you came to the story structure? Leave the people on a big one.
I mean, I really wish I had like some big stinger, but I'm trying to genuinely think, because I've gotten so much like small advice. But I think it's just kind of like, just keep going, just do it. I know that sounds like a very incredibly basic thing to say, but the best bit of advice that I've been told is to just write. Because again, you get better with every draft, you get better with every story, and I think if you have an idea, do what I do. Just write it down. Just like take some notes. Obviously, you don't have to write a whole script. No one's asking you to write a 93-page script in your free time just for fun. Just write down a thing. Honestly, just, write down some ideas, spitball them with some friends, just go, tell whatever. And if you have a concept that really resonates with you and you really want to get it down in a script format, just do it. It's not that bad, just do it.
Yeah.
It's, it can only, like you say, your first draft's never the final one, so just do it. And you can just keep going from there. Yeah. That's all I can really say.
I would just like to throw out there that the last thing I've remembered, having had that discussion, is that how they fit this in, I have no idea, but they still have Wonder Man coming.
That looks fun, but
Wonder Man.
See, that one looks fun, but
a new character, 5 months before an Avengers movie.
Guys,
They're planned to pay him off in a significant way, even have him in those movies. Let's see.
Let's
see. I think we've said enough on it.
Hollywood.
Anyway, thanks for leaving us on that. Anyway, so we're now going to go into our weekly game. Woo! Right.
Yay.
Okay. Would you rather, books and scripts edition? Let's do it.
Come on. Feeling good.
Right, okay, how to play and take turns asking questions. Yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory. Each player chooses an option. Pick one of the 2 choices. Explain your choice, optional. And move to the next question. Read the new question. Okay. Cool, so we're taking turns.
Appreciate the help.
It'll make sense as we go along. Right, okay, I'll start. Okay, here we go. Would you rather only be able to read books with cliffhanger endings? Oh my god. Or books that never have a sequel?
Never have a sequel.
Yeah.
Lockdown. Done.
Yeah.
Done. It's my least favorite thing in the world. A lot of shows do this, which is really annoying. That they don't realize that seasons have to be complete things. So they get picked up for 2 seasons and they just make season 1 the first half. And I'm like, no. The whole point of a show is that each episode has its own thing. Each season has its overall thing, and each episode has its own thing.
Not to throw shade,
rather
but
than
in
whatever.
other words, Squid Game 2.
Yes.
Which I also will just say, though, quality fucking telly.
I mean, yeah.
I really enjoyed Squid Game 2.
Enjoyed it.
I was just like, yeah,
cool.
I'm in the game here. I understand entertainment. I know that season 3 is coming thick and fast.
Yep.
So we're not going to have to wait that long. I'm still kind of annoyed.
Also, didn't need a sequel at all, but, it was alright.
I'll be honest though, it's all patterns. Nick says it's all about patterns. I'm gonna be real though.
Wait, I can't. Sorry. I just realised that was recorded. Mr. Glean, if you just saw me roll my eyes. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Let's move on to the next question, gang.
Woo!
Cut that out.
No, it's the I do like the Hunger Games vibe to take with that.
Yeah,
it's a plot that I'm quite interested in for that. It suits it.
Fun.
Okay, next one.
Only read books written in screenplay format, or only watch movies adapted from books. Like novelizations.
Ooh. Well, I'll watch...
Oh, no, never mind. I said that completely wrong.
I watch more than I read, so I'd say I'd rather do red. I'd take a red pill
format.
on this one.
Well, can they see what the pills are?
It's red and blue.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. Yeah, I'll watch.
Yeah, only watch movies adapted from books because I feel like most great film, a lot of great cinema is adapted from books anyway.
Dune was books.
I do really like. Well, I don't like that, but. Those films are kind of naff, but
you share something in common with
Nick. See, Nick, please. I agree with
you. He didn't like it either. Okay.
It was bad.
He didn't like Dune.
It was boring. Okay, let's move on.
I loved it. Both of you can get lost.
Story itself, great. The first film being 3 hours and it barely covering the inciting incident, die in a hole. Genuinely, the only part that you need to watch is the last 15 minutes of Dune. Everything else is fucking boring. And then the second film is also quite boring just structurally, because it kind of just keeps happening.
Okay. Brilliant.
I apologise for these fucking tangents.
Right, okay. Would you rather have to rewrite your favourite book as a screenplay? Ooh. Or turn your favourite movie script into a novel?
Ooh. I would probably pick screenplay. Have to rewrite my favourite book as a screenplay, because probably one of my favourite books is called John Dies at the End, and it already has a film, and apparently it's shit. So I would love to get a chance to, like, rewrite it as an actual, like, proper film. But also, I guess that falls into the kind of, a lot of great media is made from adapted sources, but I don't know of many novels that have, I don't know of many novelizations that have really, like, made an impact.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It feels like they're kind of tat, just for, like, movie fans.
I would say Blue Pill on that, like, rewriting your favourite book as a screenplay as well,
Yeah.
because, well, I can say I haven't now, we've finished animation on Harry Potter, and say that we've now done that. It's a case of, like, that was a challenging experience. Like, I know we're joking, like, it's for a kids animated special, but it's like, that was hard.
Yeah.
I can understand now, because you know the whole Norbert, have you read the book before?
I haven't read it, but I've seen the
But
films.
like the original book has like a Norbert plot line of like the dragon with the astronomy tower, where they literally, you know, his brother Charlie in Romania, Ron's brother. Well, Ron's brother is he's called Charlie. I believe it's Charlie. He's the one, and he's in Romania, and he looks after dragons. So it gets name dropped in the films. But basically, he comes to visit. Like maybe it's the astronomy tower. It's some kind of tower, and they sneak Hagrid's dragon from that original movie. They sneak him at night with the invisibility cloak up the thing, and I'm pretty sure that's what gets them the detention that lands them in the Forbidden Forest.
Okay.
Rather than Draco just catching them at Hagrid's hut.
Got you.
So with the dragon.
Got you.
You know, so it's like that entire thing was cut out. I ended up cutting it out with the special, spoilers. But like I ended up cutting it out the special because we didn't have the time.
I mean,
I wanted to. I wanted to work with a 25-minute script, and I'm like, this is getting. In the end, it ended up being 36 pages, and I'm like, this is too long. It's probably going to be this long now by screenwriting rules. What the hell is happening? Like, so I had to cut that entirely. So adapting's very difficult.
Oh, 100%.
Very difficult. I can say how it's such a pain now.
Next one. Would you rather be stuck in a dystopian novel's world or be stuck in a classic Shakespearean tragedy?
Nah, fuck Shakespeare. I'm going dystopian novel.
Dystopian novel. Yeah, well, Shakespearean tragedies, they do kind of, like, dystopian novels, they tend to end with the dystopia being, like, deposed, if we're going by, like, YA rules. Whereas tragedies kind of just end with everyone dying, or at least the character who's
like I think
dying.
Living for a weekend in Macbeth would be pretty cool, but it'd be pretty shit if you stayed around till the end.
I was about to, yeah, I can feel that.
Like the vibes would be immaculate, but then like when stuff started getting gnarly, you'd be like, oh no, where's my watch?
I don't know if I was having like a feast, and then the king, like the newly like elected king, kind of just started freaking out because he was like, "There's a ghost on the table," and I'm like, "Okay, fucking calm down, dude. I'm trying to have some chicken, dude."
I'd be like, "Where did someone put my LSD?"
Jesus.
Anyway, okay. Do not say that. I don't even know what that is and what that does.
What?
I don't even know what that substance is and what it does. I'm just assuming that it's somehow related.
I think it makes you hallucinate. I don't know. It's like a mind.
I'm sure some people in the group would know. I don't even know that either. I'm just naturally assuming the worst in uni students.
I mean, fair enough.
Someone in the uni will know.
Yeah, probably.
Feel free to let us know in the comments.
I kind of just want to say a random name and see if anyone like messages me.
just to let you know, this and that.
Rodrigo. I don't know. I'm just.
You full. Oh my god! Not true, by the way. He's just
love you, Rodrigo. I doubt you'll even see this, but love you, Rodrigo. It's all love, man.
Oh no, he does. He wants to be on, man. He will be. We'll
Fuck
get him.
yeah, man.
We'll get him on. We'll get sorted.
Love you, bro.
Yeah. Okay.
Continue. Don't tell my partner about that.
I won't need to. They'll see this.
Whatever.
He comes out on camera.
I mean, I already know. Well, I've got my husband's back. What? This is a separate thing. Let's not get into this right now.
Would you rather read a book with an amazing plot but terrible writing? A beautifully written book with a boring plot.
Oh, fuck. This one's rough. Because I've been trying to read Blood Meridian, which is a reference that I don't know anyone will get, but it's like a western from the 1900s. Hey. But that book has a great central plot and a great thematic undertone. It is shit to read because there's all of it's just massive paragraphs with barely any punctuation, and it is impossible to slog through. So I'd probably have to say a beautifully written book with a boring plot, because at least then I can read through it in a somewhat alright pace.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's that time of night now.
Do you not read?
Not much.
It's now 4 a.m. in a warehouse in South Shields.
Probably past that, to be fair.
It's now 4:50 a.m.
In the big brother house. Okay. Would you rather have every book you read be turned into a bad movie adaptation, or never have any book adaptations at all? Never again.
Never?
Yeah.
Damn, I'd probably still pick the first one, because then you just get more media out of it. Because I feel like the amount of good book adaptations is worth the amount of bad ones, you know?
I know, but this is saying every one you've read.
Yeah.
I'd say no book adaptations. I'd rather it be done well.
Mm.
Only read books written in the form of plays. Only read books with no dialogue. What?
I guess written in the form of plays, because that's just kind of... So it's still just kind of... I guess it would just be thoughts and kind of voiceover and stuff.
Even comics have dialogue. What? So just be picture books.
Well, no, I'm assuming it would just be like books where they don't actually they don't have
right.
quotation marks, but they just kind of say I said this or whatever. You know what I mean?
I suppose that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd take red. Sorry, I've done two in a row.
Would you rather have to write a novel entirely in script format, or have to write a screenplay using only narrative prose?
Care to enlighten me what that means?
Prose. That is descriptions, and it's like script. So having to write a novel entirely in script format is obviously like the dialogue being character name in the middle of the page type shit.
Yeah, thanks for sharing them. As an avid writer, I know exactly what that means, but thank you for telling the audience.
Of course, yes. I'd probably pick narrative prose just because I like writing descriptions anyway. So it's pretty much just reading a book.
Okay. Right, okay. Would you rather only be able to read unpublished scripts from now, or only be able to read classic literature?
I'd probably pick only be able to read unpublished scripts, because like I said, Blood Meridian is a classic literature and it is impossible to get through.
Yeah.
Would you rather only be able to read book franchises like Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, or Percy Jackson, or only be able to watch movies inspired by books but never read the original books? I'd probably pick watch movies inspired by books but never read the original, because I did that with something like Bullet Train, because that was a film that I absolutely loved and I didn't even know it was a book until later on.
Yeah.
So I'd probably have to pick something like that.
Mm-hmm. No, I'd say red as well. Simply because there's a hell of a lot I've seen that's been adapted from books that I haven't read, like Hunger Games, for example.
Yeah, I get that.
Which I'm fine with, because you always say that the movies are never as good as the books. Like, I don't care. That's all I've seen.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
It's just the preferred medium.
Brilliant. Right, up next. Would you rather only be able to read one book franchise for the rest of your life, or only be able to watch movie adaptations of different book series?
I'd probably have to pick one book franchise just because I like films more than books. It's a basic thing to say, but it's true.
Yeah, I don't really understand what this means. This one, like,
you'd only be able to read the Harry Potter books, or you'd only be able to watch you'd only be able to watch adaptations. Pretty much, you'd never watch anything original. You'd only ever watch adaptations.
Yeah, I'd probably go with you then.
Yeah, that's
right. Would you rather live in the universe of your favourite book franchise, but only as a side character? 7 side camera energy. I could not. Side camera energy. What's this? My words are slurring. We're nearly done, folks. Home
it's
stretch,
now 6 a.m. and it's in a warehouse in South Shields.
We talked about Doomsday for far too fucking long. I'm losing it.
I set you off. I'm really sorry.
Yeah, it's fine. But you might have handed me the gun, but I'm the one who fired it. So
it's fair.
That's all that counts, right? Or be the main character in a bad movie adaptation of it. Oh no, the side character.
Yeah, I'd say side character, because also most films or most books protagonists go through hell, because that's the whole point of a story.
Yeah.
So like I said, being a side character sounds sick because you just kind of get to be there but not actually be in danger.
Yeah. Grand. Right. Any more? Yep. Next one. Would you rather watch a movie adaptation that cuts out your favourite character, or one that adds a brand new character who changes the story? Ooh, I think red, actually. I think adding a new character that changes the dynamic might be interesting.
I don't know.
Because you still spend time with the character you like. The dynamic just changes.
You know what? I can see your point, because it doesn't say it has to necessarily negatively change the story. It's just like,
yeah,
because obviously you can get like bad like OC characters that get added into pre-existing works, but like I can say it doesn't say negatively works.
Because in theory, if you've written a good enough character, it should be about how this newcomer affects them. Because if you know them inside out, which you should do with a good character, how would they react to this new person?
Yeah, exactly. Just adds extra dimensions to the story. I like that.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Would you rather your favourite book franchise get a new movie adaptation every 10 years, or get one definitive version and never be remade? Second one. Get one definitive version, never be remade. Hollywood repeating itself is the death of creativity.
Woo!
Come on.
Personally,
oh, is that just...
Finn?
Finn?
Such a tie-in.
Who's that?
No, yeah. Yeah, that's how I think. It's Finn at the end.
Oh, it's Finn.
Finn.
Who the fuck is Finn? Okay, no, I get it. Okay. This joke is very unfunny. I'm sorry.
It's French. It's French, man.
It's now back to being 3 a.m. in a warehouse in South Shields.
Yes, time stands still in this room.
We've been Matthew's got me hooked up to a machine. We've been filming this for 48 hours straight.
Currently, his blood supply is going into that back wall. I'm draining him for all he's worth, and then when I cut the cameras, I'll put him out of
when he
his
yells
misery.
cut, I'm just going to go...
Right, well, it's been absolutely lovely chatting today. Thank you very much, Ben. Been brilliant.
I need to shout out my friends from home, Aaron, Luke and John. They would be mad if I didn't shout them out. Also, shout out to Dane, because I've embarrassed you by bringing up Powder Keg. Shout out. I'm really sorry.
And apparently, what's it called? What's it called? The Matthew May podcast? Is
yes,
that
the Matthew May podcast. I hope you're proud of
geez.
me for being on it. And sorry to my partner for mentioning the husband thing. We'll deal with that later.
Secrets have been unveiled on what we're calling. What was it? Okay,
the Matthew May podcast.
Yes, okay. So that's episode 10. We'll see you next week on the Matthew May podcast. For the love of God,
Older 2 coming 2035.
Perhaps sooner than you think.
Foreshadowing.
Foreshadowing.
Oh my God.
No, I'm saying. No, seriously. Right. Okay. I'm saying on a serious note. I'm deadly serious. I'll say around the camera this one. I'm saying.
When did you cut it?
Bye.
No, I didn't get my shout out. Fuck.
Did you get the shout out in?
Yeah, the shout outs.
Yeah.
When did you cut it?
Don't worry, the cameras are still rolling. I just need to cut out all of me talking now.
Okay.
Like,
Not all the audio.
do we have enough for an end? Because I didn't even say goodbye or anything. Like, have we actually got the end in here though? That's the thing. Oh.
I had to do it at least once.
We'll put Benny Hill over this entire thing.
Oh, this is the end. Bye, guys.
Bye! I just put subtitles for the...
My friends are going to be so mad at me if I didn't.
No, the thing is, it's funny for this. The audio listeners are going to be like, what the fuck happened? It just cut out.
What? So it might just be 3 minutes of us waffling with no actual audio. So it's just like the camera picking
Eventually on some service when they listen to that, what the hell is going on, yeah?
Jesus.
Oh my God.
Well, that's a shame.
Are we definitely done? Have we got what we need?
We've got what we need.
Okay, fine. Thumbnail then. Someone come in for the thumbnail.
Do I do a thumbnail first?
I'll do the same thing. That's a photo that goes out in the end.